Hello, hello. Welcome to another week of Foreign Takes. Who's here with me, boys?
It is Big Lev here tuning in with KG in tow.
Is there a Lamar Jackson around? Apparently, he
No, Lamar
fumbled.
Jackson is busy choking, man.
Well, okay. All I heard, because I don't follow American football, was that Lamar Jackson was amazing. He's the MVP. He's gonna win it. What the hell happened?
Taylor
Nah.
Swift and her fans and
Yeah.
whatever his name is, Travis, whatever, ruining.
No, no, bro. It's just it was a very defensive game, and just Lamar threw very bad interceptions twice.
My
So-
God. And the game's still going, I assume, 6 hours later,
No,
or is it over?
No, now it's done.
Finally. Let's talk about more interesting stuff. I think.
Let's talk about the real football. Real football.
Yeah. We're about to get so many haters. And the big one, obviously, in England, there was no regular games. It was just FA Cup. I think it was actually quite boring. So many draws. I think the one to start off with was probably the one that wasn't a game from today, which was Liverpool. I think they won 5-2 against Norwich.
Yep.
Overall thoughts? It seemed pretty straightforward, honestly speaking.
I mean, the thoughts are not about 5-2 about Norwich, but about sadness that descended upon Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp deciding to leave at the end of the season.
Did you expect that? Were there rumors about this, or is this completely out of the blue?
No, this was out of because he was expected to leave like last year or in 2025, and then he signed the contract extension till like end of 26. So it was like, okay, like he's just like he rebuilt. Now he's gonna have another like a 3-year period where he's gonna try to win it all, and then maybe like he'll try to like see like go or whatever. Because he got past that, he had this like, oh, at Dortmund he stayed 7 years. Then when they had the first like tough year, he left. But he had one tough year at Liverpool in before the quadruple year, and then the last year, and then he rebuilt again. So did not expect this at all.
Which quadruple again?
This guy. Which
Which
quadruple?
quadruple?
Which quadruple? This guy.
It's like taking pictures with the FA Cup and the Champions League when you won them in different years. You mean that quadruple?
Okay, Mr. 10th place. Okay, you really have nothing to talk about here.
Fair enough. Okay,
Your
question
star
though.
striker is too busy partying in Belfast.
We'll get to that
even
later.
like a nice place. He's partying in Belfast.
We'll get to that later.
Klopp won 4 trophies and people are crying over it. Okay.
No. Okay, I have a question
he
though.
won 7 trophies.
Yeah,
Get your facts straight.
Wait, hold on. I have a question though. It seems like he had already told them that he was gonna quit way back in November, like in the beginning of November, which is crazy to me. That means like the decision has been made for almost 3 months.
Yep.
Which means
you know what it explains? You know what it explains though? It explains the frustration that Big Lev had with, he's going for Europa League. Why is he going for all the cups? That explains everything. Once he said it out, I get why he's trying so hard, because this is his last push before he goes off into the sunset.
Fair
yeah,
enough.
But like not really. I think if he wins a quadruple, right? It's not a real quadruple. It's a Europa League quadruple. So I think it's more him just win the Premier League and go out on that rather than like try to chase 4 trophies.
I think it's for his own personal stats as well. That's my opinion. I think we'll get to that question later. I think Klopp is a great manager and has been great for Liverpool and for the league. But I don't think over the past 30 years he would make it in the top 5. That's my
terrible opinion.
In the last 30 years. In the last 30 years, he's not going to be a top 5 manager.
Are we talking about Premier League?
All football.
Oh.
He's not going to be. He's not going to be in the top 5.
Oh, interesting. Well, so let me throw them ones out that we can all agree on, and then we'll get to the controversial ones. Okay. So last 30 years. So of course we're gonna have to have Fergie in there.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna have to have Wenger in there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mourinho. Okay, we're gonna have to have Guardiola in there.
Yeah. You have to have him.
You have to, right? You have to have these 3. Realistically, you're gonna have to have Mourinho in there.
Yeah. And then Ancelotti. He goes over Klopp.
Carlo Ancelotti, 5th.
Top 5. Of the past 30 years. He's not getting in the top 5. He's a great coach. He did a great job. He would have been better.
Why is he not going over Mourinho or Ancelotti?
Because Mourinho won 3 UCLs. One of them was with Porto on a shoestring budget, which Klopp also had. Similar.
He didn't win 3 UCLs. He won 2 UCLs.
Okay, 2 UCLs. One with Inter, one with Porto. Okay. Still, more than Klopp. He won multiple titles and multiple leagues.
Okay, Klopp won more UCLs than Wenger. Then, like, what's this like?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
What is this like? why are you deciding this
Wenger,
now?
Wenger won 3 leagues and had an unbeatable season. Jose Mourinho won that title with Chelsea when
Klopp
he
also
conceded
won 3 leagues,
with
twice with
in the
Dortmund.
Premier League.
Bro, like you're just
Wenger had
mixing
an
the shit up.
unbeatable
Yeah.
Like,
season.
no, 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 you're mixing this how
Okay,
it
it's
suits your
my
narrative.
it's
Okay,
it's
this is
it's
not an objective
it's
discussion.
it's my subjective opinion that over the past 30 years he will not be my top 5 managers of all time. I'm
Okay,
giving
wait.
you
Fair.
my top five.
I have a question. I mean, we agree. Like, obviously, I mean, he is. If we talk about like the last 10, 15 years, he is one of the top managers. I guess.
Yes,
Do we think that the 115 kind of leaves a bad taste as he leaves? Because the only thing that stopped Klopp from winning more was Guardiola, right? At
I
the end of
think
the day,
what
we all
stopped
agree.
I think what stopped Klopp from winning more again. It's not a diss on. It's not a diss on Liverpool. It's not a diss on Klopp. I'm not saying it because I dislike him. I like Klopp. I like the style of football that he has. I like the way Liverpool has been playing. It is partially due to the fact that you had Pep Guardiola, who's been dominating with 115 charges, and second, it's that the company, or not the company, but the team that he was operating in had not invested in him. They didn't give him what he wanted all the time. Even this summer when he wanted a 100 million midfielder, they fucked around and waited until they submitted a bid. Like, he's been in a very poorly run club, and it's not due to his managerial shortcomings. It's
Can I
just
give you a different perspective, and then I want Big
yeah.
Lev to see which side, because the other perspective is that he was in a club that was run sustainably, and had it not been for a club that was spending more than any other club combined, would have actually won the Premier League multiple times, had a chance to win the Champions League multiple times. But and that's why I go back to the 115 charges. It's like there's a possibility that Man Cities are only here because they broke the rules, and
I
yet Liverpool, within the rules, we're still able to compete. Is that another way of like
Yeah.
looking at it?
Yes, that's another way of
So
looking at it. I agree with that.
so if in the fall they make City vacate those titles and give it to Liverpool, is Klopp suddenly in the top five?
Absolutely.
Because the only way we're looking at this is from a lens of
I'm
how many
saying
prems
if
he won, but like it doesn't take away from the fact that he had two 97-point seasons where he didn't
exactly.
win, which is kind of unfair because no one of the six people you or five people you said, they didn't have to face that. They never had to go above 90 points
I
to win.
agree. I am saying that when like you've never seen Pele play, but you know Pele is the greatest player,
No,
or
I
it's
don't. I
quoted to
don't
be
think Pele
greatest
is
player.
good. I
Not
think
you, but
Pele sucks ass.
that,
I don't
that
count
is
his
the
1,000 Brazil goals for shit. That's
that
like
is
me
the
scoring
average
1,000 goals on FIFA career mode. Doesn't mean
that's
anything.
that's the average opinion of human beings. When you talk about the greatest of all time, you mentioned Pele, Maradona. You may have not seen them play, but you're gonna say Pele was one of the greatest ones
Yeah,
because that's
Sheeple's opinion.
that was given. I'm saying that if everything stays the same and 115 charges do not go through and the titles still remain the same, once you open history books and you say who were the from the 2001 till 2022, who were the top 5 managers, and you have to make a list, Klopp is not gonna reach
No, you know what it is?
be in that
It's
top
because
five.
you can make an arbitrary cutoff and say five, because if we said six, he would be in there. I
Yeah,
think
he
though
would be in there.
we can agree he's a legendary manager, right?
He's
I
a
think
legendary manager
going
for
back
the Premier League and Liverpool. Yes.
though to like what happens is like the do we agree, Big Liv? There's no outstanding candidate to replace him at the end of the season, right? There's no like
No.
one single candidate. So it's a question of like what direction do you go? Do you keep trying to build the same style manager who does something similar, or do you just let a new manager take their own style because you say trying to replicate it is not going to work?
No, you go like there's only one correct answer here. You go for Javi Alonso. He is the best up and coming prospect. He obviously has huge ties to the club. He is used to working in a setting with Leverkusen when you have like sporting director, much like Klopp. So the German model where you have sporting director, like you have, it's not like manager has to decide everything. And he's very tactically smart, as he's seen this season. They might not win the Bundesliga, but like Leverkusen was almost relegated 2 years ago. So
Yes, that is.
Yeah.
that is the only correct option. I don't want to hear De Zerbi. I don't want to hear some like bullshit Brentford manager. Okay, that's like hiring Roy Hodgson after you let go of Benitez. Okay, you need to bring in excitement again, or this club's gonna go back.
But why not De Zerbi? I think De Zerbi is also
De Zerbi is a
second.
clown.
I think he's the second best
He's not good,
candidate
man.
next
He
to
has
Xabi
a
Alonso.
very good run club, who has amazing transfer policy, but he has been very disappointing this season. He's been pointlessly shifting around teams. He has not demonstrated ability to like make tactical decisions and changes in a game to get his team over the top in games he has to win. I
So
don't
I
rate him as highly. Let
so
him
I
go
would
to
disagree
Arsenal
with
after
that.
Arteta leaves.
I would disagree with that.
okay, but then let's take that slightly different. Then what is now knowing that okay, so Liverpool's top of the league, Premier League. They're still in the Champions League. Sorry, in the Europa League. They probably are favorites there. They're still in the FA Cup, and I think are still in the Carling Cup, if I understand.
Yeah, they're in the
So
final,
like
by the way.
they're in the final. So like, what would you consider a successful season? Like, has that changed now that you know Klopp is leaving?
I really only want the Premier League title. I don't care about the other three cups. I think if he wins the Premier League title and he goes out of Liverpool by bringing them back on level with United's 20 titles, then that's a huge success and it's a huge story point in the tale of Klopp because now he put Liverpool back on the perch
Yeah,
as the
that is a dream scenario.
most successful club in England. So
That is
that's
a
a dream
dream
scenario.
scenario. Yeah,
Like
that
he
is
can,
the dream.
yeah. I don't care about the number 11 League Cup. Doesn't mean anything. Um,
Interesting.
I mean, some people will be like, "No, trophies," but like nothing matters but the Premier League to me.
Yeah, especially now. I feel like it's added more pressure or like more. It has more meaning now that he's leaving for him to do this to finish it.
Yeah,
But there's going to be a lot of managerial outgoings and incoming, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Because
Yes.
Javi announced that he is going to leave Barcelona at the end of the season because virtually he resigned from winning any trophies this season because they're out of the
Copa
Copa
del
del
Rey.
Rey. Yep.
Copa del Rey. Didn't win the Super Cup. They are in what? They're in the Champions League, which they asked him, "Do you have a chance of winning it and staying?" He said, "No." Like I'm not
Yeah.
going to be staying if I win it. But I mean, come on, let's be real. We don't have a chance to win it. So yeah, he's going to be going. Who's Barcelona going to get? And then Javi Alonso has to choose. I mean, Javi Alonso is not going to go to Barcelona. I think
He's not.
no sane man would go to Barcelona over
No.
Liverpool.
Yeah,
Both
I
Tuchel had
mean,
a good job.
to be honest, like as much as you know, I criticize them. They've run Xavi down into the ground, right? It's like
yeah,
you can see he looks aged, as if he's been running the presidency. Like I do feel a little bit bad for him because Barcelona truly has killed that man. Like seeing where
yeah.
he was 2 or 3 years ago versus seeing them now. Quickly continuing on the FA Cup, I think a couple other quick games to touch on was Spurs finally lost to City at home. I think it was their first game in what 5 years or something that they lost.
Yeah,
Controversial decision. They lost on a last minute header slash corner. Sorry, corner.
yeah.
Would we? Okay, real question: was that a foul or not on the goalie on Vicario?
If it's against City, it's given as a foul.
I agree with you that because
Yeah,
it seemed really weird that it's like they didn't really look at it. He was obviously being pushed, but it was also like Vicario should be stronger, right? Like Vicario could have actually handled the cross. I think that's the problem.
I've seen these types of fouls given, especially on the last minute, and then a decider goal. It could have went either way. Didn't go to the VAR. City had to go through because it's City, and they did. Overall, Tottenham played way better than you would expect against City. They went pound for pound with them. De Bruyne didn't do much of a impact as he did in the last games that he came on. It's one of those that like if it's given, you if you're on the receiving end of it, you're gonna feel hard done by. But if it's not given, you're gonna be pretty saying like it's okay.
Yeah.
You can see
That's
it.
why I'm like, it's not the worst decision we've seen, but it's still kind of annoying that they scraped through again with another questionable decision.
Yeah,
Speaking of scraping through, the other team I think also played today was Manchester United, who were away to Newport. So the final score is pretty flattering, I think, is it fair to say. It's 2-4 for Man United. But KG, I think we were chatting in the group chat this is flattering score, right? Like United really shot themselves in the foot by conceding 2 goals.
the way they conceded the two goals, the first one was a freak goal. If you've seen it, it's not like it was a planned out. They outplayed United. It was a shot from a distance that went in. Like if you tried it to do it on another 99 times, that wouldn't go in. In terms of the second goal, that's when they came into the game, which should not have happened. But this game was a clear blueprint and an example of what's wrong with United. It's they don't have a team spirit. It is so evident that they were 2-0 up. The two goals came from a team play, and then instead of building on that and scoring more and passing when you need to pass and continuing on that team environment, people became very, very egotist. Garnacho started to take shots. Anthony started to take shots for some reason. Like he celebrated a goal against Newport as if he scored against Real Madrid in the final of the Champions League. He just put himself on the knees and put his head. So
It's so ridiculous. I think you know what
yeah,
the thing you're talking about is this is where we see I think Liverpool in the last 5 6 years and City where they just kill you, right? It's like when
yeah,
they're on top of the game, one goal isn't enough, two is enough. They try to go for as many as possible, and you
yeah,
could see United just don't have it like completely. It's and this is against Newport. It's not against the Premier League team. This is they should have been away with this 4 or 5
yeah.
goals easily.
Yeah, easily. And I think Bruno Fernandes in the after match press conference said that some people were selfish. Once we went 2-0 up, people became being selfish, and it's evident that people are in the club just for their own selfish reasons. There's a lot of players that need to be let go, regardless of their image rights, regardless of what they bring in, regardless of who their name is. You just need to cut them off. And I'm speaking of Rashford, who went on to party before the game in Belfast. Hilarious banner was at the stadium. There were fans saying, "Rashford, can I have your weekly wage?" Which probably it's some people's like a yearly income, like
Yeah.
even like
Oh, more,
CEOs. It's
more.
like a small business CEO, medium business CEO salary if they're very generous in the US. It's his weekly salary. He's earning
So a
350K a
question
week.
to you then: Is
Yeah.
Rashford's time up at United?
Yes, he should be sacked. He should be
But
sacked, sold, whatever it is. He should be gone. He should not be playing for Man United ever again. If he treated Sancho the same way as because he didn't apologize, with this knowing that you had like 10 days off, you could have partied in any other given time, but then you went out to party just before the game. You're not match fit. You are banished, and you're never back. You're never back.
But
I
how
guess
about the what about the hungry kid? Who's gonna
he
feed
can
them?
he can do it while he has the high wages. He can pay it off from his wage bill. He
I
can
guess the
feed them
question
all at
is
once.
like, I mean, Liverpool did an amazing job this summer, right? Like, completely transformed the midfield, and like, really was like 5 players in, 5 players out. But for United, the real problem is like, who's gonna take them, right? Like, you have Sancho, 350 plus. Who's gonna take him really? You have Rashford, same thing, long term signing. I feel like there's just too much going on at United. Like, he's not gonna be able to do it in a single summer. It's gonna take them 2 or 3 summers, but they have to back the manager.
They have to back the manager regardless who it is. Even if the manager is not going to be Ten Hag at the end of the season, they'll have to back him, and they need to find a way how to deal with Russia. That's what the new ownership came in to do. Upgrade your sales department, figure out how to sell them, or cut their losses, cut off the contract. The problem with Rashford is that he signed a new contract at the beginning of the season, pretending that he's hot shit and he's going to be this. You're supposed to be a leader, and the manager caved in and gave you a chance to play on your favorite left spot, and then you treat him that way. You're betraying your manager, your team members, and your club that you're supposedly are from, like a local boy. That should be all gone out the window. He should be sacked, fired, sold, whatever you want to do it. Loan him out to Newport and subsidize his wages. Maybe then he can go party in Newport if he wants to.
It's crazy, honestly speaking. I also have to give credit to Ten Hag. The number of things he's had to deal with is insane. Like when I really look back at it, I'm like, it's a shocking number of not saying he dealt with them all greatly, but it's just you do feel for him a little bit. It's like an endless number of things keep cropping up.
Is
Yep.
there a way for if you're Ten Hag to salvage your career at this point? Because from my point of view, what is happening right now is not gonna be any transfer in for January. It's almost done, like 3 days left, because Sir James wants to see what is gonna happen the rest of the season, and then decide if he's gonna back this manager or get a new manager and then spend money. And I do not see how Ten Hag can recover with this sorry lot of players. He has maybe one, two, three players that will fight for him. The rest are fully checked out.
I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't think the reason why they're not signing anyone is because of FFP issues. They have, and the acquisition technically is not in and is not going to be until February, so the injection cannot help the FFP. So they cannot sign anyone even if they really wanted. That's why they're loaning out all of the people. They're loaning out Facundo Pelistri, who you would rather keep than Anthony, to be honest. Just give him a chance to play till the end of the season. They're looking to loan out Ahmad. They loaned out Hannibal. They loaned out and sold all of these young, promising players who you would say, hey, if the professional players do not play anymore, play the youngsters. You can't even do that anymore.
So lots
I
of
mean,
weird decision making, honestly speaking.
it's weird. It doesn't make sense. I think they're just trying to trim down their balance sheet, and then they would want to ideally get rid of. They need to get rid of Casemiro. They need to get rid of Varane. I'm sorry because they're on too high wages and they have 1 year left in them. And are you gonna do anything with them for 1 more year? Do you really expect to do something with them in the next year? I don't think so. So if you can get a good fee for them, like 15, 10 million, sell
Yeah,
them off to Saudi. That's
yeah,
one way to trim the fat. But what do you do with Sanchez and the Rashfords of the world? You
You're
don't know
stuck. You,
because
yeah.
they're English. That's the
Man,
thing. They're English. What?
you need to hurry because I think
Yeah,
the Saudi thing is falling apart. So you
yeah,
you need to sell whilst they're still buying. Because
yeah,
it
I
I
think
is
in
know,
a
but
falling
couple of
apart
years it's gonna be
much
another
faster.
Chinese Super League. Yeah, good.
yeah,
I
they.
hope the wall dries up too,
Yeah.
so they stop spending money on stupid shit like giving Henderson $350,000 a week. Why
Yeah.
It's
are you doing this?
shocking, shocking.
No,
I
but
think
to be honest, like the whole problem is, and I don't think that with the new owners is gonna be solving anything because his motto is do everything British and like put British first, essentially when you're signing players, and that is the problem that United already have. Like they signed Sancho and Rashford and gave them huge wages because they're British,
it's
and
terrible
that's not.
decision making.
It's a you can't. Nobody cares for them. Nobody cares for Marcus Rashford outside of Manchester. Nobody would want him. Name me two teams that would be interested in him.
No one, truly, no one wants it. Let's move on from the depression that is the depression inducing Manchester United because you look quite sad. I think just quickly switching to Serie A, the demise of Napoli continues. So just they drew with Lazio. They just didn't have anything going for them. Of course, Osimhen is with Nigeria at Afcon. I guess I have a question for Big Lev. Is Napoli's done, right? So we know Osimhen is definitely leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, he
So
said
Yeah,
like I know.
he's gone. And there's truly, they're going to get rid of the manager and they're going to get a new manager. They already admitted this, which means they're like a mini rebuild coming. If you're Clara, what do you do at the end of the summer? Do you stick around for the rebuild or do you try to push for an exit? Because you've already won the Scudetto. So, like, what's the decision now?
the problem for Quara is he has not shown this season what he showed last season. Where can you move? That's the same level, right? Like I'd rather start regularly in Serie A than sit on a bench in Premier League. I think for him, the best offer would be Tottenham. And is Tottenham a better development opportunity for him than Napoli?
Money
Hard to
wise,
say.
yes.
Money wise, yeah, but it's not all about the money, right?
He's not gonna move anywhere if he goes to Tottenham after Tottenham, right? Have you seen Harry Kane? Man's lost trophies upon trophies because Daniel Levy said, "You're
Yeah.
mine. You're not going
Yeah,
anywhere."
that's true.
So no.
Now, if someone like Juve comes for you, then I would say, yeah, he should probably go, but he'd be hated in, in
Yeah,
Napoli if
Yeah.
he goes to Juventus. So,
I feel like you'd have to
um,
leave Serie A.
yeah, it depends who they hire as a coach, right? Because, I
yeah,
mean, Napoli has had some really good teams over the last 10, 15 years. Remember when they had Cavani? So they've been able to kind of keep the cycle going where they never got too bad.
yeah,
So I think he stays another year, and then there's a next year. There's gonna be a big negotiation about like a new contract, release clause, whatever. It's just his agent kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It's a
I
friend
think
of the family, and it's an agent who's only skilled in making deals in like post-Soviet Russian clubs, under the
yeah.
connections.
table bullshit deals. So
Um,
yeah,
It's gonna be interesting.
unfortunately, he doesn't have a good agent.
but if I was him, I would actually look for a way out this season because he like being realistic. Last season they would want what 100 million for him minimum, and who would
Mm,
afford 100 million? Like 100 million is Mbappe money. Like if Real Madrid would have spent that, they would spend it on Mbappe. City would not drop 100 million on Kvija. Not a lot of people would. United can't do it anymore, so he would be stuck of nowhere to go. But now that he has an off season, he can go for a cheap. Like people can negotiate and say that okay, he has 1 year left on his contract. He didn't do that good this season. He's not $100 million player anymore. He's more like 60 plus add-ons, like a Ballon d'Or
But
contract.
yeah, but
you're
like
for
who is the 60 plus million left winger?
nobody. Like none of the top teams really want to
I
do
mean,
that.
Arsenal maybe.
No,
Arsenal
but we
maybe would,
have Gabriel Martinelli there,
who
so
can't
it's not
score if you asked him
Bro,
to.
bro,
Uh,
sure. But we're
this
not
guy.
no.
Yeah,
My
I
point
mean,
is it's
you need a striker more.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we have,
yeah.
there's no one that needs a pressing need at left winger unless United magically sell Sancho and Rashford, and maybe there's a hole there. So suddenly it's
no, they have
Yeah.
possible.
Garnacho. We
That's what
You
I'm
need
when
saying.
Garnacho, yeah.
There's just not
yeah.
enough opportunity.
They will need
Just
someone to play on the right. But again, there's going to be an opportunity. There's going to be some there's going to be movement, and for 60 million, if I could, I would move because personally, I think Napoli's not going to do much. I think they're going to get rid of all the players that want them, and then they'll try to rebuild. And they haven't won for 30 years before. They're not going to be competing. They're going to be good. They're going to be in the top four, but they're not going to be like
Hmm.
the Milans and Inters. You know,
fair enough. I mean, speaking of Milan, they drew with Udinese. Um, Again, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, his resurgence continues. He scored 2 goals, 2 fantastic goals. Honestly speaking, the Milan team is beginning to click, but they got spanked by Udinese's like last goal in the last 5 minutes. I think KG. Can we talk about Xerxes for a second?
Xerxes, man, what a player! What a player! I've seen him play a couple of times. I've seen Bologna play a couple of times. He scored in every game that I watched, and he doesn't score a lot, but the presence, the way he moves, the bulk that he has, he's very similar to what Hoyund does. But
Yeah,
so it's another kind of raw talent that you see in that type of a player. He's badly like I was watching the Milan game and the Udinese game, and I was thinking like Giroud's retiring. If I was Milan's board, I would be so over that guy. I would sign him to Milan and like prop him up, and then after that he can go far beyond from because Milan is known for selling players. So
yeah, fair enough. Can we talk about Giroud for a second? Because
yeah,
we always talk about what's his name on the left wing, Rafael
yeah,
Vieira. We talk about the middle. We talk about Hernandez, but Giroud is the glue that makes it all work, and he's still contributing at a high level. He's just, I don't understand how can he go. He's giving Dzeko style, like he's gonna keep playing until
yeah.
he's early 40s, genuinely. Like,
This is a corner of Whitey's share corner. Every weekly episode, Whitey has his
Yeah,
corner where
man.
he where
This
he
guy
shares
has
the
a
love for
huge crush
Giroud.
on Giroud. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love him. That boy, that
Oh,
man is amazing.
Olivier
Truly.
Giroud, send us your pictures. The YT wants to see them. My
Oh
God.
my goodness. All
Yeah.
right, all right. The other one, of course, Juventus dropped points at the top. They had an early red card, I think, in the 18th minute or again. Minute. And then today, I think it was announced that they're loaning out Moise Kean to
You know
Atletico
that
Madrid.
you know that conspiracy, that Atletico Madrid Juventus money laundering conspiracy.
Yes.
They sell Morata back and forth as if it's just like a sandbag. They just here you go, no here you go, and they send each other 15 million each time. Now it's Moise Kean. He's the new Morata.
No, well, you know what? Moise Kean's agent needs to be Kvara's agent. That's the truth.
Yeah,
Because Moise Kean has the most amazing agent, and Kvara has the worst agent because he keeps failing up, right? I don't understand
yeah.
how truly, this is like corporate America where you just keep failing upwards if you're the right
Yeah.
person. Like, I don't understand. I don't see what people see in him as a striker, truly,
I
in
don't. I
Moise Kean.
He has blistering moments, but I don't see him being this unique striker that does. He doesn't even score. He failed at Everton. Like you know how bad you have to be to fail at Everton? That's failing.
Well, bad
Like,
enough to then go to PSG. I don't understand
yeah,
how he managed that.
money laundering. They find just one guy that you can easily money launder, my friend. But
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
another
Shocking.
transfer, interesting transfer. Speaking of transfers, is Sasha Bowie going to Bayern. Another weird one. I mean, Sasha Bowie is a great player. He played well for Galatasaray, and I think Galatasaray they're not in the Champions League anymore, so they bought a bunch of like these star-studded players, the Icardis of the world, the Zahas, and they're unloading some of them. And Angelino is also leaving,
I mean,
and
going back on Bowie, like if you're a Bayern, it makes sense, right? Like
yeah,
you've already loaned out
yeah,
Stanisic, and
yeah,
Mazraoui. I hate to say it, he's just Mazraoui. He's a little overrated in my opinion. I don't think his
yeah,
ability defending is that great, and then going wise, he just doesn't contribute for a team like Bayern. So I think
yeah,
for Bayern, it's a good upgrade there. But yeah, I think there just hasn't been that many transfers this window, right? It seems
yeah.
very low key. Of course, Premier League, there's been basically no transfer, but in general, it seems like all of these loans, but really nothing great. No big transfers.
Yeah, Premier League has been quiet. Usually, they're the big spenders, and except for Tottenham, I wouldn't say there was anything much.
Yeah.
Maybe last day of the week, Andrea Shavin back to Arsenal. You never know. They need a
And
striker.
honestly, we would love it. I mean, just quickly wrapping up Serie A was, of course, Inter won again. Actually, fantastic game
They got
against
lucky.
Fiorentina.
It was a fantastic game, but they got lucky. Inter, count your blessings. You got so lucky. So lucky. But Fiorentina took the most. What was that penalty? What was that
Terrible.
penalty? Like okay, you got a dodgy penalty. Let's be real. Like somebody hit you in the face and took the ball, but okay, you were giving a penalty. What was that pass? It was that the guy who won the World Cup. He won the
Yes,
World
it
Cup with
was.
Argentina. They put him on like, you're a World Cup winner. Go take a penalty, son, and he passes it in the net. What kind of a marauding bullshit was this? So
Truly,
frustrated.
it's so frustrating. Like it's truly frustrating. If you haven't watched it, to the listeners, you absolutely have to go watch this. It's one of
But
those
oh,
ridiculous things.
the game was good, right? YT, we
Yeah,
have to say, like it
the
was
game was
very
good.
entertaining.
It was super
Yeah.
entertaining. Fiorentina is capable of ripping through the teams. It's just that final third in the box, the decision making is just subpar. Honestly
Oh,
speaking,
and also Enzola, he frustrated me. He reminded me with that saying that he didn't pass a couple of times where it was a clear pass to like pass it on. It's basically a layup, and then the NBA turns and Bonaventura is going to slot it in, and he just decides to shoot. He decides
just
to shoot.
so
It's
frustrating.
just
I have to say, Bonaventura is fucking fantastic. Whether he's playing deeper or higher up, honestly, when he's as an 8 or a 10, I don't understand. Like, he's just, people don't seem to be talking, but I've seen him multiple times this year, and every single time he contributes, whatever is needed, he will do it in the team. He's just a
it's because
fantastic player.
it's because he's on the older side. He's
That's true.
30. He's not. He's like you can't sell him anymore. And Fiorentina is not doing anything successful. But if they go to the Conference League finals again, he may be more relevant. Also, that apparently Jose Mourinho is putting his name into the Napoli role. That would be hilarious to see.
Oh,
Yeah.
please. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst fit, because the Napoli team is definitely better than the Roma squad. But
No, 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 man. Jose has very hard time trying to assemble a team when he doesn't have the spending power he used to have in Chelsea, at Real Madrid. Okay, he hasn't really achieved much with small budget. Apart from maybe Roma won a title after all these years. No, not the title, the a trophy. But
European trophy, my
everywhere,
friend.
yeah, everywhere else he's really been reliant on like a good amount of spending to bring in the veteran players that he needs to work with, because he's not great at cultivating young players, and he's just approach doesn't
Unfortunately,
work anymore.
yeah, unfortunately, Jose Mourinho's
he's
he's
done.
outdated.
Yeah.
He's outdated. The way he doesn't the players that he needs are not the same anymore. The mentality is not there. That's why he goes for Matic everywhere he goes. That's why he goes for
Yeah.
Chris Smalling or Mike Smalling, as Louis Van Gaal like to call him.
Oh my
Louis Van Gaal,
goodness.
what a character! Oh, still
This
bitter, man. 5 to 7 years, he's still bitter about United
that man
firing
is going to be bitter until he dies. Honestly,
him.
I think just to lastly talk about Bundesliga for a sec. Leverkusen were I think drew at home to Mönchengladbach. They was a frustrating game, to be honest. Leverkusen is amazing. They should have won this. They had multiple opportunities, but overall, it feels like one of those games you'd see when Liverpool were dominating or City were dominating, where the team has no intention to attack you. They just literally park the bus, and there was no space. But and then Bayern on the flip side ended up winning, so they've gained a couple points. How do we feel? I still feel confident, but I'm curious. It seems like there's some nervousness beginning to show up now.
Still unbeatable.
Still
Still,
unbeatable.
it's
27
still lose.
games.
27 games. I mean, the stats were immense. On the 20th minute, I saw the stats of like 90% pass accuracy and 78 possession. Like
It
they
was
tried
dominance.
everything. They
Yeah.
were dominating, but it was just a block on a block, and it just shows that like you can't like that's the only way you can stop them, and you can't even beat them. You just like draw with them. They really got lucky these past two games. Like they barely beat Union Berlin, who was struggling 1-0, and then this game Augsburg was still in the game, chasing them down. And the funny part about Bayern is that apparently there was Thomas Tuchel kind of hinted that he would be open to jumping ship to Barcelona because Javi said that he's leaving.
How he's saying that out loud in the middle of the season is beyond me.
He really doesn't like being at Bayern. I think he has so much pressure and he doesn't understand it. As I said it before, like you are in the only Apple store and you're losing to a Nokia flip phone. Like you like not to say that Bayern because it's a Nokia flip phone, but you cannot let it be this close, this deep into the season.
I
So
agree. It's such dominance from Leverkusen, and then you look at and the thing is, it's not that. I think if Leverkusen were dominating, but like Bayern were also dominating, that would be one thing. It's
yeah,
the fact that they've been winning games that they should not be winning, right? Like it
yeah.
feels like Tuchel hasn't actually improved the team at all.
He scraped by literally. Yeah, they didn't improve. It was the same Bayern as last year ago, and they're scraping by results in the Champions League, in the league. They're winning, but like it's not confident winning. Even the Champions League was like it wasn't a confident win that they got out there. Like it's more like everyone else kind of dropped off. It was like Copenhagen got in. Even Copenhagen barely almost beat them at home. They
That's
finished in a
true.
draw. Like it shouldn't happen. And then Tuchel is like surprised that like, oh, there's so much pressure on me from the German like reporters. Yeah, because like you didn't improve, you didn't do anything, and it's a team that's standing still. And you spent 100 million on Harry Kane. You spent 100 million on Harry Kane, who's 30.
I mean, he is banging in the goal, but I feel like it's not that hard to when you're at this Bayern team.
Genuinely, do you think that? Where would you rank Bundesliga among all the five leagues in terms of competitiveness, how far they go?
The problem is it's whether we include Bayern in this equation, all right? It's like the moment you exclude Bayern, I think overall it's actually quite interesting to watch. Very good attacking football, defensively quite weak overall. But I would put it definitely behind Serie A, especially the current Serie A, and I would probably put it behind La Liga as well. To be honest, I think I'd put it fourth.
Yeah, I think it is fourth because in La Liga, I mean, Barcelona shoots themselves in the foot, but you have five or six teams that are good and they can take points away with you. It's long gone the rivalry between Madrid and Barcelona. Now you have the Gironas of the world, you have the Barças, the Madrids, and then there's Sociedads that are not bad and they can take a result from. So yeah,
Yeah, that's. I
definitely.
don't think there's the same kind of dominance that Bayern can do. I mean, they're in their 11th year of doing it, so I think that any credibility about the Bundesliga being that strong has kind of gone out the window, right? When you win what
Yeah,
10, 11 in a row, it's just shocking.
yeah.
Um,
So it was Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga, and then the
yeah.
Saudi League, according to Ronaldo.
Uh, Walked right into that one. I think Saudi League. I think instead of fifth, I think he meant 50th. Is I think what he meant to
Oh,
say. Yeah, yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah. No
Even the
chance.
Turkish league is better than the Saudi
Oh,
league. I'm
absolutely.
sure.
Turkish League is
Turkish league
better.
Yeah,
is miles better than Saudi league.
It's not
yeah.
even comparable. I feel ashamed to compare them, to be honest.
And Turkish
No,
league used to be a lot better. Like they were like number 6, number 7. I think they kind of had a rough couple of years
Yeah,
lately, but like they were remember some of their
the money
I'm
is
teams.
gone. The money's usually is in Istanbul. That's where all the
Yeah,
teams are concentrated. So if the league kind of loses out, they had like Trabzonspor and Sivasspor. I don't
yeah.
remember who. There's one team who was winning the league and competing, but then since
Ankara
that
sport.
gone, Ankara Gücü they have, but it's
Yeah.
not that. But yeah, it's similar. It was a good league. It was a
Bro,
good
they have
league.
a town named Batman.
Yeah,
There's Batman sport.
Batman's
That's why.
it's probably in League Three or League Two. You know, there probably
Yeah.
is. There probably is.
Wait, genuine question. Where would you guys rank MLS?
Oof.
Like within the top
Seventh.
10?
No, what?
No, no,
No,
No,
no,
that's the right answer, to be
no,
clear.
not
no.
top 10, not top 20. The championship is better than MLS.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is. It is.
100%.
Yeah,
But it's on the same rank as the Azeri Georgian league, like 100.
yeah,
percent
yeah, kind of,
It's the same
yeah.
thing. It's
Some
just because more
random.
teams. Yeah. Random people who like they earn so much like so little, like the draftees, they need to work as a McDonald's.
Uh,
Like in McDonald's to support
this
themselves. It's not
the
a
thought of
professional
seeing
soccer league.
draft in football makes me want to fucking puke. That's a disgusting concept
Yeah,
to combine, honestly
Yeah.
speaking.
MLS
Top
won't
30.
succeed in this like setup. Okay, it makes sense for other franchises, like in other sports where you have this franchise. It's very hard to wrestle back control from like 32 NFL owners. But come on, MLS is still early stages. You need to get rid of this bullshit where you only have like 20 teams and then no relegation promotion. If you want US to be actually like successful in soccer, you have to have multiple tiers and a lot more people going because like US is so athletically gifted, like they win most medals on Olympics. There are other sports where they actually put in the effort. They're insane. Put a little effort here too, and you'd be like serious players on the world
I
stage.
I disagree though. I disagree. I don't think athleticism will help. I think it's more about building culture. It's about like people being interested in the sports
Yeah,
from
I mean
an
that too.
earlier
So
age, and
Which
that
they
comes
are,
from
right? It is
culture.
I think it's like the number one growing sport, and I think it's like the top sport amongst like high schoolers or something like that. So it is big. But the thing is, the league is not strong. It's like the league setup is
The
terrible.
league, I would say it's a top 20 league if you're thinking about the commercial value it brings and the amount of fans it has. But in terms of interest, it's not even the top 30. I think all of the European leagues, even the Polish leagues, whatever league you want, who goes to the Europa League, the teams that go to the Europa Leagues and qualify, and that's most. The Austrian league is better than the MLS.
I have a question for you then. Okay, MLS, is it, because I want to be sure you're saying, so there's Champions League, there's Europa League, and there's Europa Conference League. Where's
Yeah.
MLS in this ranking of these three?
Like, where would
They
their team succeed? An
Yeah,
MLS
what
team?
level? Yeah.
they
I
would
personally
stay in the
think
group.
Europa Conference League.
They would stay in the group stages in the Europa Conference League.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Last spot, 0 points. That's what the best team in the MLS would do. I am sorry. They like that's where
Yeah.
talent comes to die. I am sorry.
The level is very low. Just look at Inter Miami, lost 13 or 14 games in a row. Messi came in, completely like past his best, basically was walking around in on a field eating his fucking Hard Rock Cafe chicken sandwich, and it's like took them to like whatever final they were playing and won so many games out of nothing because when I was looking at it, the guys couldn't touch him. Just the level is so. I know it's messy, but it's not messy,
No,
messy,
it's
right?
terrible.
Okay,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
not
guy
messy,
who like
messy.
completely is done. He's retired. It's
Yeah.
just bad, man. It's just bad.
Remember watching one of the semifinal or final games? I think it was semifinals. It was honestly, it was painful to watch. I'll be honest. It looked so slow paced. The center backs literally couldn't put a pass more than 10 meters in front of them. It was just one of those like watching it live. You made it realize how much worse it actually is. If that makes sense.
Well, but also when you see like a designated player come in, you see the difference between the local grown players and the designated player. It's like you see that like, oh, this and it in the and it like it's not like they have some random people as well. They have what's it called? The former Sheffield United striker. He went into Los
Oh, Billy
Angeles
Sharp.
Galaxy. Billy Sharp. He's probably like way miles better than anyone on average playing in the league. So yeah, MLS they're not in the top 20. They need to do a lot of work, and then most of the work that they have to do is what Big Love said. It's removing all of that. Like the relegation is an important part because then people will
Yeah.
actually give a
But,
crap.
but but then how would Robert Kraft sell his fifth sports team? Huh? He owns every sports team imaginable. It's kind of shocking.
Also, the idea of franchising is
Terrible.
bonkers. Like, you are never going to build a culture when you can franchise a team. The whole point of building, like, it starts, we all fit in. Like, we're not from Liverpool, Manchester, or London, but we fit into the culture that they're selling.
Yeah,
But you
that's true.
cannot like feed into the culture of the MLS teams because tomorrow they're not going to be Los Angeles Galaxy. They're going to be St. Louis Galaxy. And it's like,
It's such a
what are you
weird
selling?
concept, right? The fact that
Yeah,
you can just like literally lift your team and leave. Anyway,
yeah.
I think that's probably a good spot for us to pause for the and wrap for the week. Next week we will be talking about a little bit of MLS, and the Champions League will be returning, so there's going to be a lot of stuff to catch up on.
Midweek games. So we'll see how who's going to stay on top and what's going to happen. Liverpool's playing against Chelsea, so
Ooh,
it's
it's going to be a good.
it's
Well,
a
that sounded
precursor.
interesting 20 years ago, but I think it's going to be another ass whooping.
Yeah, I don't think
It,
so.
it's a precursor to the AFL Cup. So
Oh, there's going to be a good call. We'll see you next week.
yeah,
All right.
see you next week.